We have Alan Rush, Kevin Rogers. These guys coach over 100 technicians.
We have found this really cool niche. We take people selling a couple $100,000 a year to selling, $3-4 million a year. And if you don't believe it's possible, it'll never happen, right? No one did it for 100 years. You were the top dog in your company, but if I literally took you just right over here 2 states over and plugged you into this company, you would be the lowest salesperson. So what do you want to do? Let me show you how to do it.
Welcome to Coaches, the Rilla Labs podcast, and today we have 2 fantastic guests for you. We have Alan Rush. He is the founder of Rush Profits. It's a national home services coaching organization. Kevin Rogers we have as well. He's Rush Profits vice president of virtual training. Every single day, these guys coach over 100 technicians using the power of both the in-person and the virtual ride-along. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining today.
What's going on, Pat? Good to see you, man.
Tell us a little bit about Rush Profits, what you guys do. I mean, you have such an interesting model. Every day you're coaching hundreds of guys out in the field. What is it you do? How do you do it?
Yeah, well, again, thanks for having us. So the main thing is we have found this really cool niche. There is this thing out there called the Chimney world that maybe like 1% of people have even heard of, right? I don't know if you can see the tattoo, right? Like sweet luck here. We're Mary Poppins, man. We are out there helping blue collar companies, roughly 8,000 blue collar companies in the Chimney world, try to figure out business, right? Try to figure out how we go from running a brush through a chimney to making millions of dollars. And so that's kind of the little niche that we fell into. So we been in sales for almost 30 years, but the last 15 years we focused on blue collar. The last 13 years I've focused on chimneys, and specifically in-home sales when it comes to chimneys. So anytime whether it doesn't matter if you're chimneys, I have a garage door. We always talk about Tommy Mello. We have HVAC companies. We have floor covering companies. I've got security door and window companies. But the idea is if you have to go into the home and you have to do some sort of evaluation, an inspection, a review, find a problem, and present some sort of a solution that is going to require a lot more money than what the technician or the customer was expecting, that's where we help customers go through that process. Because if you called me to sweep your chimney and you were expecting to pay $200, and then I get to the end and say it's not $200, it's $15,000, you're going to have a pretty strong reaction to that end result. And so we work people through that entire process in the home so that by the time we get to the end, we have a much higher chance of having to be able to take care of the customer and making that close.
How did you land on chimneys for a niche? Because it's so fascinating. Typically we hear HVAC and plumbing or garage doors, like you mentioned. Like, I feel like that's such a narrow slice, but you guys have made such a big impact. Like, how did you stumble upon it?
Well, me and Santa go way back, and okay. So, he talked to me one time. He's like, "I'm not coming back unless every chimney is clean in the United States." And
I need a good working environment. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I did have you ever heard of BNI, Business Network International? It's a national networking organization, and I was part of this for 10, 15 years with another company. And every single week you go, you network, you meet a bunch of people, and did this, and it paid a little bit off here and there. And then when I started working with this new company, I went to the same BNI group, and I met one guy there, and he said, "Hey, I'm interested in what you have to, you give a 60-second spill." And he said, "I'm interested. Come talk to me." And I was like, "Okay, great. What do you do?" He's like, "I have a chimney company in Nashville." It's like, chimneys, like, again, like Mary Poppins. He said, yeah, it's like, it's a thing. And I was like, okay, I don't know anything about chimneys, but let's go. And, sales is sales, right? So we go, and long story short, go and make a huge impact in his company in a very short amount of time. And then this guy, Mark Stoner, Ashbuster's Chimney in Nashville, probably the top 5 largest chimney companies now in the United States. He then went on to become president of our Chimney Safety Institute of America, which is our kind of certifying body. And then, referrals start happening. And then, it's one thing after another. All of a sudden, 80% of what I'm doing is chimneys. And there's nothing about chimneys that should be likable. I mean, when you really think about it, right? I mean, it's dirty, it's creosote, it's smelly, it's heights, it's roofs, it's
Tough work.
heavy equipment, it's heavy lifting, it's ladders. There's nothing about it that should be enjoyable, especially for coaches, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain. Once you get into it, we just fell in love. I mean, absolutely just fell in love with it, and we can truly make a difference in people's lives. We take people from selling a couple $100,000 a year to selling 3-4 million a year, and the difference that can make in their lifestyle and their family lifestyle is absolutely insane. And so yeah, that's how just a one lucky BNI meeting that you think about how literally 60 seconds changed the next probably 40 years of my life. So I can't ever thank Mark Stoner enough for that meeting.
So I'm really fascinated how you guys coach and train. Like you said, getting those guys from a couple 100,000 to like 3-4 million a year. Like, what does the Rush Profits process look like, going from 0 to 1, being maybe a struggling or middling performer to being a top tier chimney technician?
At the end of the day, I think this is true with just about anything blue collar, right? I mean, no one wants what you're selling, right? Like, there's not, like, if you called me and to sweep your chimney, we have a lot of products, right? We have waterproofing products. We have things to fix bricks. We have things that can fix the inside of your chimney. We have things that can, do things. But none of that is stuff that you want or you hope that I bring you that you can buy, right? Mm-hmm. And so when it really comes down to it, our industry is very split. And I think this is true with, if you go to HVAC, plumbing, to pretty much anybody that's going to be at this Rilla conference coming up, you have a very strong differentiations between what we call technicians and consultants, right? Technicians are very good at identifying problems and fixing problems, and they're very proud, and they're very they love their knowledge. They found this issue, and here's what's wrong, here's what you need to do, and here's how we can fix it. And that's the way the chimney industry started, was very much, I'm going to go through this 70-point checklist, and I'm going to find all the problems, I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong, and I'm going to tell you how to fix it, right? And just so happens we're a company that can also do that as well. Here's how much it costs. And so that technician mindset is telling people to fix things that they may or may not care about, right? It'd be like if you never used your fireplace in 20 years, and then I come in and tell you the 10 things that's wrong with it and why you can't use it, and here's what you need to do. You're like, I don't care, right? And so, like,
I'll leave it broken. Yeah.
Right. And so being able to correlate that to, well, even if you're not using your fireplace, you do have a chimney that is sticking way out of your home that is absorbing a cup and a half of water for every single brick that is in that chimney. And whether you're using it or not, water is going to intrude into your home. And if you don't stop that water, the freezing cycle in your area is going to cause those bricks to start falling apart. Now we're going to have a lot more issues. So being able to correlate things that actually matter to the customer is huge, right? So there's the whole idea of the technician, and we teach what we call the consultant model, which I believe most strong blue-collar coaches are bought into. And it's the idea of, who cares what's wrong? Tell me why you called me. Tell me why you picked up the phone. Let me help you. Right? You called the right company. I'm going to make sure you understand the problems you have, and more importantly, that what happens if you don't solve these problems, right? And so if we can get the technician, I think we talked about this on the Rilla, it was one of I loved the headline on the Rilla podcast we had a couple of years ago, get out of that mindset of selling products and services and get into the mindset of just simply helping people, then all of a sudden everything gets easier. If you want it, I can tell you all day long, Pat, you need to do something, and your natural instinct is going to decide, do you want to do that or not, or put your hands up or give me an objection or feedback. But if you tell me, this is what I want, Alan, and I show you how to do it, you're much less likely to give me any type of negative feedback, because I'm just showing you the ropes to the exactly where you wanted to go, and people have asked me a million times, how do you sum up your sales process? What is Rush Profits, right? Rush Profits helps customers take their clients exactly where they want them to go. It's that simple. I mean, it really is that simple. And then here's how we're gonna do it, right? So, what do you want to do? Let me show you how to do it. If you don't want to do it, let me make sure you understand what the impact is going to be by not doing it. Right? So it's okay if you don't fix it. You just may not be able to have a fire. You may not be able to have a fire safe. You may not get heat. You may not do these things. But as long as you're okay with understanding what happens by not moving forward, I'm okay with that. Right? It's your home. We're still in America. Do your thing. Yeah. So.
You keep your rights. You can make your choice. And I think that's so fascinating that that shift of rather than leading with product, but leading with intent. I mean, Kevin, you're coaching these guys all day, every day. When do you typically see that switch flip? Or like, what are the symptoms that you notice? Like, hey, these guys aren't trying to sell; they're actually looking out for the best thing possible for the customer. Do you see that in some of the sessions?
Absolutely, and you see that in the discovery phase. Obviously, when they really kind of master that discovery phase, and they're genuinely looking at the person like, this is my grandma, this is my uncle, this is whoever, my parents maybe that have this system, and I'm going to care for them as if they're my parents, and I'm going to find out what it is that they want and give it to them in its simplest form. That's exactly what we're doing. In the sales process, the Rush Profits process that's Alan developed over a decade of work. That actually is kind of baked in for them to transition from a technician to a consultant really easily. Because if they just follow the steps, we can prevent a lot of the objections that come up if you are acting as if you're a technician and going through their issues, and you're there for 30 minutes as opposed to an hour and 30 minutes. So once you see the rep actually close the deal as well, right in the home, it's almost like they're stunned, at the first time or two, because they're like, "Oh, really? You want to move forward? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Next, we go into financing.
All right. Sure. Yeah.
You can tell that the hair just stood up on the back of their neck, and they're excited, and they don't know where to go after that because they've never been in that spot before. So, working them through that when they have that experience, that's when it's just like, okay, now it's clicked for them. Now they've crossed over to consultant mode. Now they get it. Now they know how to lead the next one.
And I'm sure that's especially in those discovery questions, right? Like you can tell when you're getting sold to, you get the tie downs like, oh, waterproofing. Would you like that in your chimney? Doesn't that sound, is this the type of chimney you'd like to have in your home? It's like, what are we doing right now? Right? Like it feels like you're being pushed and sold to a little bit.
It's discovery questions are so fascinating to me because they're a necessary part, but they're also they're necessary for sales. They're very unnecessary for most technicians, right? So most technicians can go into a home and they're very good at what they do. They don't need to talk to a customer at all, right? They can go through their checklist. They can go through their instruments. They can do their testing. They can do run our cameras in our chimneys. We can get on roofs. I can tell if your chimney is not working. I can tell if you have water intruding. I don't need to talk to a customer at all, right? And so why do we even have discovery questions? What is the purpose of discovery questions? Discovery questions is to find out, does the customer even care about the thing that we're there for, or how they relate to it? I mean, I could tell you again all day long to do it, but if you don't care about it, you're not going to. So one of the biggest things we teach when it comes to discovery is never ask a question that the answer to that question does not somehow manipulate the way you propose. Like, for example, how often do you use your fireplace? There's only three answers to that, right? I use it all the time. I never use it, or maybe I use it occasionally the holidays or something like that, right? Why did I ask that question? If I'm just creating conversation or rapport, okay, maybe. But if the outcome of that question does not manipulate my presentation to the customer, it was pretty much a pointless question, right? If they use it all the time, I know that one, they perceive there's no issues, or else they wouldn't be using it all the time. So I'm going to have a much tougher battle when I tell them, hey, you've got $10,000 worth of work. And they're like, no, I use this thing every day. I've never had a problem, right? It's been 30 years I've been in this house, right? And also I know that they somehow care about this system, or else they wouldn't be using it. If they are never using it, why did you pick up the phone and call a chimney sweep? Why am I here today? What problem am I actually solving, right? Are you getting ready to sell the home? So you don't care about if the fireplace works. You care about getting maximum value out of your home, or not getting stuck on a home inspection, or not having a hiccup. But, if you only use it a couple of times a year, why? What's keeping you from using it every day? What do you hate about it? What's not easy to use about it? And whatever those things are things that are going to lead me down to more questions to find out exactly what that customer wants. If they're like, hey man, I'm just sick of wood, dude. I'm getting old. I've got to cut it and I got to buy it. It stinks. It's bringing in bugs. Man, what if you could sit on your couch and hit a button and have a fire pop up instantly? You think you'd use your fireplace a little more often then? Absolutely. All right, that's an option, right? So just talking about, in terms of their interest versus in terms of the chimneys and fireplace, you're going to just get so much further with the customer.
That's so fascinating to me too, like the questions that we ask, because I'm sure these technicians, they come in, they could tell you, oh, I can tell that fireplace has been used frequently or not at all, or oh, I can tell it's this type of brick or whatever.
That's right.
But you don't get those opportunities without asking that question, showing interest. You actually don't probably get that opportunity to best serve the customer and get them what they want if you don't ask those questions.
100%. Well, I mean, and you can, how often do you use it? Well, I ask technicians all the time, why do you care? And they're like, well, I want to know how dirty it's going to be. Are you not going to know how dirty it's going to be once you open it up? Right?
Should I put my gloves on or not?
Is that not a correlative question to when's the last time they had it serviced? Right? You could use it every day and not have and had it serviced last year and it may be okay. You could use it every day and not have it serviced in 5 years and you're in for a lot of creosote. So again, none of that matters to the end result to the client. At the end of the day, we're just trying to figure out their relationship, why they picked up the phone, why they called us, what's important to them, and how to help them. We tend to ask a bunch of questions. So one test I give everybody, if you're watching this and especially if you're a sales manager or technician, is if you go back and look at your 5 to 7 to 10 discovery questions that you ask your customers whenever you walk into the home. Do you understand the why behind each of those? And does the answer to that question change your proposal? If it does not change your proposal, then it's probably a pointless question. And so to go back to an example of, are you use your fireplace all the time or you never use it? Or let's use a different example. We're going to how long have you been in the home? Well, we've been in the home for 5 years. Great. Fantastic. What's your plans for the home? Is this the forever home? Is this, well, Alan, we're probably going to be here another 15, 20 years. So yeah, or Alan, we're probably going to try to put this on the market this summer when the kids go to school. My solution may be exactly the same thing. Right? I may say, you know what? You need a whole new system. This is damaged. We need to get some sort of appliance in here. We need to reline this chimney, whatever that is. But my reasoning is going to be completely different, right? My reasoning is going to be, look, man, you told me you're trying to get out of this house. The last thing you want to do is put a ton of money into this, but you want to be able to use it for as long as you're in the home. And on top of that, you want to make sure that you have something that has a transferable warranty to whoever buys your home to give you the most value whenever you go to sell the home, right? Whereas if someone is going to be in this home for the next 15, 20 years, look, if you're going to spend money on your fireplace, you only want to spend money one time. So if we're going to do something, let's go ahead and make sure that this is a one and done thing, has a lifetime warranty. That way that for the next 20 years, you can feel good about having a fire. Maybe the exact same product. Do you notice I didn't even bring up what the product was? Nobody cares. You're going to be able to use your fireplace and sell your home for max value, or you're going to be able to use your fireplace and you're going to be able to enjoy it for the next 15, 20 years with having a live fire in your house with as little risk as possible. And so when you get into what's important to the customer, everything else gets a lot easier.
Fascinating. Yeah, talk about like the reason and the intent behind that, like having the customer really see the vision. Because they don't buy into the vision, who cares about the product? Like they could do absolutely nothing. Yeah. Well, I'm curious because I know chimneys sounds like it can be a dirty job, but so is coaching. And I know you guys get your hands dirty. You're coaching hundreds of guys every week. Like, how do you really get through to these guys? I know some people are very coachable and some people are a little bit more resistant to feedback. How do you guys connect and deliver those huge results?
I always tell the story of Roger Bannister. And for those that don't know Roger Bannister, he was one of the very first people to ever hit the 4-minute mile, right? Up until he hit the 4-minute mile, no one thought it was possible, right? I mean, 100 years goes by, no one thought a 4-minute mile was possible. All of a sudden, Roger hits it, and then within 10 days, another person hits it. Literally, think about it. 100 years goes by, no one hits it. Within 10 days, all of a sudden, 2 people hit it. What changed? Well, what changed is it's possible. And so when we go into start with technicians, and they're at whatever level they're at, let's just say let's say they're really good in their company. Let's say in Chimney, so HVAC and plumbing, it may not be able to relate to Chimney World. I mean, our top dogs, I mean, if you sell 4 million in chimneys, you're the 1%, right? So if you sell 1 million, you're probably an average guy. If you sell 2 million, you're really, really good. If you sell 3, you're like a rock star, right? 4 is like unicorn status, right? So
Okay.
just to kind of put that into perspective. But if I go into a company and there's a bunch of people selling $1 million, and I'm like, hey man, I want to get you to 2 million. Their first thing that they say, or should say thoughts, are all the reasons why that's impossible, right? It's oh, there's no way. I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm only at 1 million. You're talking about doubling. That's impossible because of my competition, my market, my pricing, my whatever excuse pops into their head, right? But what I tell them, it's like, look, you're the top dog in your company. But if I literally took you just right over here, 2 states over, and plugged you into this company, you would be the lowest salesperson. Do you think all of a sudden now it's impossible to sell what these other guys are selling? Or are you just really comfortable over here? And so that's the way we start, right? Like, it's possible. Because if you don't believe it's possible, it'll never happen, right? No one did it for 100 years. If you're like, dude, that's just not possible. Like, I've got these ties around me, it can't be done. And if unless we break that mindset, you're right, it won't be done. But if you truly believe you can do it, then we can show you 10 other guys in very similar roles that are doing that, then we have a chance. And so that's where we've created the process. We have a 50-step checklist from the time that the technician leaves the office to the time the technician leaves the customer's home, whether there's a sell or not a sell, a follow-up, or a scheduled work. And then we have trained Rilla over the last 2 years. Where are we at now, Kevin? Over 120,000 Rilla appointments that we've analyzed at this point.
Whoa,
And so
it's nuts.
so from 120,000 appointments, we have been able to train our Rilla on the Rush Profits sales process. And from that, Kevin and his team are able to basically break down 13 major categories, everything from the intro to discovery to involving the customer to interior, exterior, to sitting down, to presenting, to reviewing, to closing, to objection handling, to follow up, and all those types of things. And so that's how it started. And Kevin, if you want to talk about, we've got dozens of people companies that we coach, hundreds of people. Kevin's got a team underneath him that helps do some of the data work. If you want to talk about the logistics of that, I think that may be interesting to some people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how we look at it is we look at the entire Rush Profits umbrella as a team, even though some of our reps are broken down on, different companies. So that gives us an insight, kind of what Alan was talking about earlier, of having top reps at one company versus you're the top rep at this company, but man, if we pull you over, then, you're low dog, you're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Which, that helps a lot of my team go into the top reps and what are they doing that these other guys are not doing. So we're able to analyze things and do what we call targeted coaching. So we really try to look at each rep and what they have as a strength and maybe a challenge area, and we coach them on that challenge area for a week, to use it as a focus. We give a weekly report that includes all their sales data, some information from the analytics that we pull from Rilla, and then a focus for the week at the bottom. So that's something that is designed for the on-site sales leader to take it straight into their sales meeting and go in front of the team and coach from it. And then we have monthly meetings where we do either training or talks with their on-site sales leader. And this time is really for that relationship building. So what we want to do is really connect with the user. You're talking earlier about some guys not being all that coachable and some are super coachable. And that's what we use that time for, is to really create that relationship. But I'll tell them, man, if you think I'm full of shit, call bullshit on Kevin. I'm all about it. I'm going to go ahead and give my comments based on what we know works with our process. But if I say something and you're like, oh no, that'll never work for me, let's have that conversation. Let's build that out, because it does work. And I think that's a big part of, again, changing from technician to consultant mindset, because they have all these preconceptions, the ones that have been doing it for any length of time. My wife, she gets on me because we're driving to dinner and I'm looking at chimneys on the way there, so I know these guys do it. if I'm doing it, and so that's what they do.
10 and 2, Kevin.
That's it.
Yeah.
But they're looking at it on the drive up, and they walk into the home, and immediately on their mind, they're talking about all of this damage and all of this work that maybe something needs. And that's not the right time for that. We have to slow that down. We have to talk to the customer about why we're here. If we hit them in the face with that right off the bat, what's going to happen? Customer's going to be, whoa, bro, I just want it swept. I don't know what you're talking about. The element of surprise. It's that whole technician versus consultant. Timing is a big thing that we coach throughout that process. And some of these fellas, we just have to kind of prove it to them over time. And the ones that are maybe not as coachable, once they see it working for another team member of theirs, though, they're like, wait, what's that guy doing? I used to beat him every month on the sales board, and now suddenly I'm behind. What are we doing here? So then we get their interest, and they come on board with us usually.
I say one thing I think is fascinating too, is the data that I think any good salesperson, especially a sales coach, there's a level of ego, right? There's a level of you're good at what you do, and I know what I'm talking about, and all those kind of things. And I'm no exception to that. Like I definitely, I feel like I'm good at what I do. But when we go through and analyze 100,000 appointments, and Rilla tells me 2 or 3 things that are the exact opposite of what I strongly believe in, it hurts. It hurts. I was wrong. I was wrong. Everything that I believed in my heart of hearts that this was the way it should be, Rilla very clearly showed me the error of my ways. And so there was a couple of examples of that. Number one was talk speed. Right, I am a very fast talker, and Rilla will tell you that my average talk speed is about 240 words per minute. When we go back and we look at our actual top performers, our top performers in ours, we define by the highest close rate with the highest average sell with the most revenue produced. Right, those are the kind of the metrics for top performers. By far, our top performers speak at an average of 120 words per minute, half.
Wow.
And so
50%.
So I'm like, man, that can't be. I'll go back. We look at it. It's not even close. So now when I go back into the home and I literally work to make sure, especially when we're sitting down, I'm slowing down, and I'm like, all right, Pat, how we feeling, man? You okay? Gave you a lot of information here, man. I know. It's like you came in here to get a sweep, and all of a sudden here we are talking about rebuilding your chimney, and so. It's an effort for me to do that, but I would have never done that without Rilla, and it's even working even better. The other thing that we learned, which is fascinating, is we always taught the company story to be early and often into the sales process, right? We'd always, hey, you called the right people, we're certified, we're this, we're that, we're great, and just kind of building trust along that relationship. And Rilla flat out told us, don't do that. They're flat out said, look, nobody cares about your company until they realize they have a much bigger problem than why they originally called you. They called you for a chimney sweep, $300. They trust you for that. You don't need to justify your company story to come in and do a $300 chimney sweep. The more you talk about it, the more it sounds like who cares? But when this changes from a chimney sweep to a $10,000 interior investment, now I'm serious. Now who's in my home? What are your credentials? What are your training? What all of a sudden, and so we very clearly learned the points of where the company story should be introduced, and when we build trust and value versus the way that I had originally taught it. So there are several things that we've just got out of Rilla that completely have just changed the way that I coach, that Kevin coaches, and that we're able to see a huge difference in the results with the people. And I was talking about it, blows my mind that I've been doing in-home ride-alongs for 13 years now, and on average I'm still in a truck 250 days a year. I'm always on the road. I did 192 flights last year, and so I do.
Oh, my Lord!
I do roughly 3 to 4 ride-alongs a day. Kevin does hundreds a day, and his team does hundreds. And so, in 13 years, I've done maybe 7,000 ride-alongs, and Kevin's team in 2 years has done 120,000 ride-alongs. And so the amount of data we've been able to get through this virtual partnership, and the amount of people we've been able to touch, coach, and rise up is absolutely amazing. So, again, thank you again for the partnership, because we're able to reach so many more people and scale in a way that we never would have been able to. So.
Of course. One thing I will say to our listeners, like, this is the strategic advantage of working with Rush Profits and working with Rilla, is like the scale, right? Like the sampling scale. You could be $1 million tech and think you're killing it and realize there's a whole wide world out there. You could be working your whole life and realizing the company story is key, or another part of the process is key, and realize you're missing a whole nother part. Like, I think that's so fascinating. You guys meeting with these guys for the first time. You're doing 1 million. You think you're great. What if you did two? What would that do for your life?
Yeah.
We moved you to a different town. You would double. You'd make so much more money for your family. So I think that's like such a beautiful thing, is coming in rather than like a business consultant. Oh, we'll work on the margins. But as a coach, I can tell you how to make more money because I have the data that can back it up.
100%. And and the thing is, and we kind of Kevin and I joke, really keeps getting so dang good, you may eventually not need a Rush Profits. But right now, every time we turn around, there's this amazing new feature. Rick's talking to you in the house, or hey, let's do this objection handling technique, or hey, let's do this role play, or let's redo this appointment, and it's all amazing. And the reality is, it's making our job easier to make our tech's jobs easier, and the fractional sales managers that we work with. And so, every company that we work with, could you do this on your own? Could you just buy Rilla and have a license and do all this and coach your team and do everything that we do? Of course, right? Of course. But is that where the best use of your time is, right? When you are a small company, do you want to be sitting and listening to 20, 30 calls a day, putting together reports, putting together game plans, when there could be a lot more things that are more valuable to you? So when we put together this scalable model that can go through, and imagine being a sales manager in your company, let's just say you have 10 people, and every single week you have a sales goal for those 10 people, and every single week you get a report that says how they did on that sales goal, and every single week you get an analysis of every appointment that they ran, what they did right, what they didn't, and then every single week you get a focus for each individual technician or the company, depending on the situation, of here's what we are going to focus on in our morning meetings. We're sucking at follow-up, guys. We're not setting the follow-up. We're not making the calls. We're losing it. We know that 50% of our proposals are going to close within 48 hours. We're not meeting that deadline. So here's what we're working on this week. And then imagine doing that every single week, and someone's done the hours of grunt work for you, and all you do is coach your team. How much more effective would you be? And that's what the Rush Profits kind of system does.
You can have a manager coach so many people, close that feedback loop so much faster. I mean, Kevin, can you tell me a little bit more about that, based on your kind of day-to-day steering the team and the coaches and making sure that the players out in the field are following the right play from the playbook?
Yeah, sure. So, now my team and I, we on a daily basis, we're evaluating conversations. We're leaving comments, whether it's a voice comment or a movie comment, or, maybe it's just a text comment that's kind of an attaboy. We balance that encouragement with, hey, man, remember, we're focusing on this week. We have to give that guidance along the way, and we don't overwhelm the reps, right? Because you could easily get in the weeds with them to where they would then be like, okay, I just can't do all of this. I'm overwhelmed. They've got a lot on them other than just guiding this process while they're there. There's a lot of technology they use. Like you said, it's kind of a physical occupation. So, we try to really target how we coach them along the way. And so, like I said, it comes down to relationship at the end of the day. They've got to know that we're on their side. The analogy I love to use with all of them, as soon as I meet a group of guys, I'll tell them right off the bat, I'm like, I'm the caddy. You guys are playing the game, right? You're out there on the course. I'm telling you wind speed and direction. I'm telling you where the pin is on the green today, how far you hit each club. These are the things that I'm doing. And I'm going to the driving range with you. We're doing some role play on once a month, and talking about what we can do to make you better in certain aspects of the sales process. So it's a fully targeted coaching system, but it's very I mean, we just want to make sure we do it in little chunks at a time because, as you can imagine, if I'm trying to get a guy to correct 5 different things in his sales process, it's just difficult for them. Being told how to do something versus being trained how to do something is totally different things.
Yeah, you're the caddy. Let's work on your drive. Then we'll
That's
talk
it.
about putting. We'll get there one thing at a time. Start with the challenges, like you said. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, my team, we're always doing training ourselves on the Rush Profits process. We adapt the process when we need to. There's basically 4 engagement points, and we break it down in each of those of how we train the guys, how we train the reps, and what we train them on during those simple engagement points along the way.
Yeah, we've created a really, really cool system. We're excited to come to the Rilla Masters. Kevin and I will be there to speak about this process and kind of show how we've developed it. We're not trying to hold anything to the vest here. We would love the opportunity to show other coaches how they can use this process within their company, as well as if there's teams that are like, man, we could use that extra level of accountability for our team. We'd love to show you how that may be a partnership for you as well. So at the end of the day, we are all blue ocean strategy. We truly believe that the more people you help, the more the ocean rises for everybody. And so that's our goal for this upcoming Rilla Masters is to try to rise the tide just a little bit for everybody.
I love that. Can you give us a little sneak peek? I know Alan and Kevin have a very big role at the Rilla Masters. Can you give us a little taste of what you guys might be talking about?
Well, put it this way: you are going to walk away knowing exactly how to do what we do. Whether or not you want to do it is up to you, right? So we're going to show you some of the reporting that we do. We're going to show you how we integrate with CRMs. We're going to show you how we can be as little involved or as big as involved. How we use the trackers to initiate role playing. How we work with the team to say, hey, you've got this habit. How do we undo that habit? One of the things that let's just say a guy has 5 things that Kevin keeps talking about targeting. That's so important. Let's say there's 5 things that we really need to work on with this one guy over the year, right? Well, let's say 2 of those things may impact close rate 2%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of those things may impact close rate 10 or 12%. Like, you're not asking for the follow up, or you're not asking for the sell, or when you get you're not presenting payment programs, you're not presenting options, whatever it is, right? So we're going to always focus on the low hanging fruit to show the immediate impact to that technician. When their paycheck raises 10-12% in the first couple of months, all of a sudden, Roger Bannister is out there again. Okay, it's possible. I'm seeing the results in a short amount of time. But what is really cool, and this is one of the slides that we have, is if you look at the 13 trackers that we have within Rilla for Rush Profits, when you get to the point where you're doing 13 out of 13, you're literally closing over double the people that do 1 out of 13. So that's where we're talking about the path, right? If you're closing $1 million, you want to close $2 million, all you got to do is follow the process, right? So we're going to help you do that step by step, but we're going to start with the low hanging fruit so that you start feeling, if you're on performance pay, you start feeling that. And then once you get to the point where you've completed the process and you understand it, now we're just going to fine tune scenarios, right? Different customer types, different body languages, different, scenarios that, the do-it-yourselfer versus the stay-at-home mom versus the retired guy, the engineer, those are nuances those are advanced level skills that we get to after you've completed understanding the process. And so it's pretty exciting to see these guys. And I know I have a slide. Kevin's got slides that, just literally people that reach out and say, you changed our life. I just bought my first house. I bought my first car. I just took my family on a vacation I never thought I would be able to do. I just sold my first $1 million, sold my first $2 million. And when we get messages like that, and they're like, even if we had a small part of it, man, it makes it all worth it. And so the cool thing is I'm in 50 states. I have, in thousands of customers. And this works regardless. You think about it in Chimneys, you would think, how does this work in Texas? How does this work in Southern California? How how does this work in Florida? But it does, right? Process is process. So really, really cool. Excited to meet some people. And yeah, we're stoked to be a part of the Rilla Masters this year.
You guys have met with so many coaches and players and managers across the country, 50 states. What's the number one thing that you guys think that most coaches get wrong?
I think we tend to focus too much on results versus process. It's the KPIs are so important, but what KPIs are we measuring, right? And are those KPIs controllable by the effort or the exertion of the technician? I can't always control what doors I walk into, how much money they have. Did they just have a roof replaced? Did they just pay for a daughter's wedding somewhere and they're like tight on funds and they've got bad credit and I can't control those things, but I can control. Did you do this? Did you make your call when you're on the way to the customer? Did you pull in front of the driveway and get out, or in front of the house and not in the driveway and get out quickly? Did you wear a clean uniform? Did you wear your badge? Did you step back 6 feet from the door when you opened it? Did you present a business card? Did you smile? So it's more the things of, did you put on your booties? You know what I mean? Did you do the process? And if you do the process, I promise you everything else falls in line, right? It just will. And so I think, if you're going to measure KPIs, make them. You got to have sales goals, right? You have to have those things. But the idea is, if we're not meeting our sales goals, it shouldn't be you got to sell more. It should be, dude, you're not doing these 3 things in the process that will help you sell more, right? So if we focus more on what they can do versus the result they can bring to the company, then we're going to have. It's not going to feel so arbitrary. I mean, it's just. There's nothing worse than, all right, it's we got 48 weeks I got to work. Well, and here I go. I wake up, I got to sell another 25,000 this week. How am I going to do that? I don't know. Just they told me I got to sell 25,000. It's a grind, man. It is a grind, and it feels like you're never ahead of the game. And
Very transactional.
Very transactional. So if you can get to it, it's like, man, we clearly see that the people that are making follow-ups are closing 12% more than those that are not. Why would we not be doing that, right? And so just more. So I guess that it's a great question. I've never been really asked that from a coaching standpoint, but for me, it is, what can the technician do versus control versus not control. And if I focus on the things that they can control, then we have a higher chance of manipulating the end result.
Yeah, it's definitely about coaching process. Not necessarily the result. Like Alan's talking about there. If you coach the process and the effort that the guys are putting in, I think that's really what it's all about. I think some coaches tend to get it wrong when they say, hey, this is the process and you should just be able to do it. You have to train, you have to role play, you have to maybe adapt the process. Not all of us are created equally, as far as sales professionals go, or some are introverts, especially in the technician industry or the home services industries that we're in. These guys didn't necessarily go into. They like working with their hands. They like doing that stuff. They don't necessarily love talking to people all the time, but it's something that they have to do. So we have to coach around that. You have to understand, the person that's in play and your process, and make it work for them. Which our process adapts, along the way. But it's definitely, at the end of the day, coaching that effort, coaching that process, that makes a difference. You don't want to coach on results as much.
I love that. That's great. Those are great answers. Mine, I think, would be coaching people right at the beginning and then just dropping the ball. You coach someone up and then you stop paying attention to them. Ongoing coaching and training is so important. And otherwise you cut corners, you forget the process.
We don't see that as often with Rush Profits. That's what we see with teams that we take over, though, because there's all these other moving parts. You know what I mean? Because you got a business owner that's trying to coach a sales team, and that's exactly what happens, man. Is they sit out, they do everything right, they got their SOPs in place, they start coaching, and then life happens, and they've got these fires they have to put out in the business, and they don't have time to do the sales coaching anymore. So yeah, absolutely, that's a big one.
Our company had a little rendition of that for a while, because I teach an 8-hour sales class, process class, right? I'll go into a company, I'll teach 20, 30 people the sales process. They'll get a ton of information, right? They'll see a day or two bump, right? It's like, oh, great. And then exactly what Kevin said, then it's right. Like, without an accountability piece, a habit, immediately takes back over, right? Immediately takes back over. I've been training Chimney guys that have been doing this for 30 years. You know how hard that is? Like, is not only from a habitual standpoint of what they've been doing, but from a mindset of what is this guy that's going to teach me that's been doing this for 30 years. You've been doing this for what, 13? So there's a couple things there that you battle, but you're right. It is the ongoing, and that's the beauty of Rilla. And I think we can close with the one of the beautiful things with Rilla, as I've had multiple people tell me this, is that, man, when you arrive to the house and you hit that button, or that you hit dispatch, you hit go, you hit the Rilla button, it's go time, right? It is go time. I know from this point forward, whatever I do, right or wrong, Rush Profits is going to be on it. So there's, we've all had it as a technician. We have all walked up to a house and we've judged it. Well, this is a crap appointment. This is a crap house. This is a bad neighborhood. This is a never going to buy, or the grass is high. Or this is $1 million home. Oh, yes, this is a big one. And we tend to allow our mindset to allow us to prejudge situations. Whereas when they hit that button, it's like, all right, no prejudging. We're doing discovery. We're doing intro. We're doing process. And we're going to do the whole thing, and then we're going to go through it. And so when you say it's go time, and you don't do shortcuts, and you literally follow the process every single time, you're going to naturally become a better salesperson.
Fellas, I will see you in Miami. To all the listeners, watchers out there, we'd love to have you in Miami. We're going to be at the Diplomat Hotel for the Rilla Masters, March 11th to 13th. If you're watching this podcast, you can use the code RUSH50 for 50% off your ticket. Maybe we'll put the code RUSH50 right here, so you can watch Kevin and Alan in action. Guys, thanks so much.